I'm back with another live. I hope that everybody is doing well and I hope that everyone is staying safe. Give me one moment, you guys. Bear with me. Let me see here, y'all. So this will kind of give folks some time to come in the room. I was just jotting down a few things. So I got my notes. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Like I said, I do have a special announcement that I want to make, but I want to do it towards the end of the video. I just want to make sure that you guys don't miss anything. Excuse me. So first off, if this is you guys' first time watching me, welcome to another video here at Live Narc Free, where it's all about getting free and staying free after dealing with narcissistic abuse. So there's a lot of topics that I have for you all, but I don't want to do all of them in one video because you guys know I don't like to make the videos too long because that can be a lot, right? I don't want to overwhelm you guys. It's the new year. I want us to all, stay focused, stay calm, you know, um, and, be able to get organized so you guys can get things done. You guys can be more productive, you can be more constructive, and you can be progressive, right? So, but I don't want you guys to feel like, you're in a rush. Remember, you're in your own lane, you're doing your own thing. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody. You don't have to look at anyone, what anybody else is doing. Stay focused on yourself, right? So I might do maybe two or three topics, but maybe two at most, because again, So the first topic I wanted to talk about is actually have it. Okay, so how to rebuild self trust and decision making after gaslight or manipulation. Now, this is really important because, a lot of people that, experience narcissistic abuse, they have different symptoms, right? So basically, the symptoms can be many different things. For instance, like certain patterns, people can experience like self-doubt, people pleasing, rumination, and actually I kind of want to talk about that too, without trauma processing, because sometimes people tend to, like, when I'm having a session with someone, I really want to kind of talk about, beyond the trauma. Like, we speak on the trauma, but we're not trying to re-traumatize. We're speaking of like solutions and how we can move past the hurt, right? We can move past the pain, move past the betrayal, that kind of thing, right? So that way we're not re-traumatizing. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, so rebuilding is important after you experience abuse, right? Because when you're dealing with abuse, you go through the betrayal, you go through the manipulation, or you experience heartbreak, you experience loss and stuff like that. It's not so easy to process, right? It's a challenge to process, sometimes it's a challenge to accept, it's a challenge to move on, it's a challenge to, make a change, to make a difference, to behave differently, to think differently, to be differently. You get what I'm saying? So it's really important to be able to make a difference, right? And make sure you guys give the video a like as well for those that come in the room. And make sure you guys let me know, how's everybody doing. Happy Sunday. Happy New Year too to everyone. And let me know how you guys are feeling on a scale of 1 to 10. Everyone, share with the family, the YouTube family. How's everybody doing? But yes, rebuilding is important. Um, So the self-trust and decision making, these are really important, things to be able to rebuild after you've been traumatized, by a narcissist or by a toxic person, or, anything, right? Or let's say if it was a friend or a coworker or a boss or something like that, you have to, begin to trust yourself again and make decisions. And sometimes, right, that's not easy because let's, like, if you've been in a situation where you've been manipulated or you've been gaslighted, you know, you don't trust yourself anymore, right? Maybe you don't trust your intuition, you don't trust what you're feeling, maybe you don't trust what people are telling you. You know, you might be feeling fearful, afraid, scared, worried, ashamed, embarrassed, things like that, right? And so the biggest thing what helped me, because again, I had to learn how to trust myself and I had to learn how to make decisions. And the best way that helped me was being alone. Being alone and spending time by myself really helped me to trust my decision making, and it helped me trust my intuition, and it helped me trust my gut. So that way I can make the best decision for me. I can learn to not only lean on myself, but of course lean on God. So the other thing is, not only did I have to spend time alone, but I had to develop a relationship with God. I had to learn, you know, that God is my source. God is going to provide and God is going to protect me. Sorry about that, you guys, with the noise in the background. But yes, spending time alone, building a relationship with God, those are going to be the two things that's going to help you build self-trust, because, you know, God created us, you know, so God's not going to steer us wrong. So once you begin to develop a relationship with God, then that's really going to help you with trusting yourself again. And the beautiful thing when you spend time alone is you won't have distractions around you. Like, let's say if you're the type of person that you have a lot of friends, you have a lot of associates, you know, maybe you're a really popular person, maybe you're very likable, you're very lovable. And the thing is that it's nothing wrong with that. But the issue is that you have to be careful of the company you keep, because some people could maybe see that as, you know, they can make you a target, or they could, you know, become very nosy and they may want to get all in your business, or maybe they might want to see what you're doing. Maybe they could, you know, take advantage, or, you know, they can use you in some way. So you have to be careful of the company that you keep, you know, and that's why, you know, it's really important with building self trust. And, you know, and the other thing is building the self trust is being able to see, you know, where did the trust get broken before, you know. So taking a look at, you know, the mistakes that you made previously. Maybe it could have been you didn't trust your gut or something like that, when it was telling you like, hey, this is a narcissist, hey, stay away from this person, things like that, you know. So you want to be very careful with that, right? And another thing also too, even with the self trust, again, is seeking out support. You know, another way to, like, to begin to trust yourself, you have to kind of hold yourself accountable, or maybe you might have to get someone to help you to hold yourself accountable, if that makes sense, right? So maybe it could mean, you know, rebuilding the self trust is getting a therapist or getting a counselor or getting a coach. And again, so just so you know, and by the way, I did have a session that went well. So, you know, I do appreciate you guys, for those of you that book sessions with me, coaching, things like that. And just so you guys know too, I do have the pay as you go coaching. So you guys can continue to do that, or, you know, the support sessions. But I also started offering bundling. So you guys can bundle your sessions up, because you definitely can save more when it comes to that. So that way you'll already have your sessions booked in advance. And then, you know, you can let me know when is the best time, you know, for the next session, things like that. But I just wanted to mention that for those of you, you know, that want to do that. I have the coaching and bundling, and just regular coaching where you can do it pay as you go, that kind of thing. So I just thought I mention that. But yeah, rebuilding the self trust. Yes. So, you know, and the other thing that really helped me rebuild my self trust was, you know, keeping my word. So, you know, being a person that, you know, being a person of integrity. So, you know, being honest with yourself, you build the self trust when, because, you know, a lot of times when you've been a victim of abuse, you might begin to lie to yourself, not saying you purposely lie, but it could be a way to protect yourself, or it could be a way to make yourself not feel weak, or it could be a way where you put up a wall, like you put up a barrier or a boundary, and you're just like, hey, no one is gonna cross this. I'm gonna, put up a shield. I'm gonna, maybe sometimes lie to myself about a situation, or be delusional about it, or pretend like it didn't happen, or I'm gonna sweep things under the rug. I'm not gonna acknowledge things. Rebuilding the self trust is when you can be honest with yourself and say, hey, this did happen. Hey, I was a victim of this. And now I am no longer wanting to allow myself to be in this situation. I want to make a change. I want to make a difference. So it's like acknowledging it, right? Also, rebuilding the self trust is also taking accountability for your mistakes, owning up to, maybe a bad decision, or owning up to, um, you know, something that you did that maybe you're not proud of, or maybe it's like an insecurity, or maybe it's just something that you want to work through. Maybe it's a trigger or something like that, right? So that's something to help you to rebuild self trust, right? So yeah, and also another thing is just being patient. Be patient can help build self trust, because that's gonna allow you to kind of you know allow you to finish things, allow you to complete things, and that builds you up. That builds you up. So hopefully that helped. When it comes to self trust, and again, this decision making is extremely important, you guys, because again, you there's decisions that you make that are good, and there's other decisions that you make maybe you're not so proud of, right? And again, if you've been a person where you've been gaslighted and you've been manipulated, you might be influenced to make a bad decision because of someone gaslit you, or someone trying to manipulate you to get something to go in their favor, like a narcissist, for instance. They will manipulate you to make bad decisions. They'll even go as far as doing magic. Like I told you guys, there was a female narc at the job that I used to work at. She tried to manipulate a whole situation by lying, cheating, stealing, and doing God knows what. You get what I'm saying? So, you have to rebuild that decision making. So, again, spending time by yourself, getting around the right people too. And that's another thing with self trust, trusting yourself to, connect with the right people. So, you want to make sure that you can be around people that, have interests, same interests as you, things that maybe you like to do, or like for instance, maybe your interest, you like to draw, or maybe you like to travel, or maybe you're into spirituality, maybe you're into arts, or maybe you're into nature, um excuse me, or maybe you're into music. Maybe so if you don't have anybody around you that's into that kind of stuff, maybe you might want to go online and connect with like a support group, or excuse me, like a club, or some sort of organization that you feel comfortable with, and you can kind of do it that way. And of course, you have to make sure that those people have good intentions, because not everybody has good intentions. Some people are just straight up evil, and it's a sad reality, but it's. So again, once you can be honest with yourself, then you can be like, okay, so I can trust myself to make this decision, or I can trust myself to go and do this particular activity, or go and do this, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And sometimes it's just maybe even running an errand, trusting yourself to go and run an errand, or trusting yourself to, you know, go to school, or trusting yourself to go to work, or something like that. You get what I'm saying? It's just like rebuilding. It's like you got to take baby steps. And a lot of the times when you've been abused, like I said, you might be afraid, you might have anxiety, you might be nervous, you might be socially awkward, you might be filled with fears and doubts, and maybe for some depression, stress, and stuff like that. So it just takes time. Another thing too, as far as rebuilding self-trust after gaslighting and manipulation, is you have to educate yourself too. Because again, a lot of people don't even know these terms. Some people are like, well, what is gaslighting? Some people are like, what is manipulation? What is a narcissist? What are you even talking about? You get what I'm saying? So you have to, read your books. You got to educate yourself on this information, and you have to educate your children too, if they're old enough to understand, because you don't want to educate them too young, because when they're too young, you kind of take their innocence away. But once they get old enough to understand, and they're around other kids or young adults and things like that, then you're going to have to start telling them, because there's some kids that are narcissists. There are some kids that are very self-absorbed, very spoiled, very like, they can't take rejection, they can't take no for an answer. They take things personal. They fight, they scream, they yell, and violent stuff like that. So you have to be able to regulate those things, and protect not only yourself, but protect your kids as well, because you're not going to always be around your kids, and they're going to need this information. You see what I'm saying? So this is not you just healing yourself, but this is also, you're going to pass this down to your kids and their kids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, so again, decision making after gaslighting and manipulation. And like I said, if you've been around a narcissist, for sure they're gonna gaslight you, definitely. And like I said, for me, the biggest thing that helped me was listening to like my gut, trusting what I feel, what I was feeling, because a lot of times your stomach, your, what they call it, your hold on, y'all, I'm being a little nosy, but a lot of the times I think they call it your solar plexus or something like that. Your solar plexus is going to make you feel a certain way if you're around a toxic person, if you're around a person that's bad, or if you're around a person that's evil. Like, I don't know if I shared with you guys in the video, but the individual that I dealt with a couple years ago, whenever we used to walk past his mother's, she had like her own business or whatever. And when we used to go around there, or even just drive by, not even walking, um, my stomach had a weird feeling in it, and my head, like something like on my head, like gave me a warning sign, and I had visions of like red, and it was like warning, like stay away, stuff like that. So you'll get those, whether it comes in a dream, or if you'll feel it, or you'll hear it and stuff like that, telling you, hey, stay away from this person, hey, be mindful, things of that nature. So when you get those nudges, it's like, don't ignore it. Like, I know we're big on ignoring it, because a lot of times, we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Trust me, I've been there too. I've done that, and in the end, it ends up biting you in the butt, because it's like your intuition told you, or it's like maybe you ignore red flags from people. And sometimes we might ignore red flags from jobs, certain environments that are toxic. Maybe we feel like we have to do it, but remember, you guys, you don't never have to do something you don't want to do. I know a lot of the times we're taught, like, sorry y'all, it's like a lot of crazy stuff out here. A lot of the times we're taught, like, oh, you got to do this in order to do that. You don't. So I just want to let you guys know that. But I hope that makes sense. If you're being gaslit or manipulated, just understand that person does not have your best intention. And unfortunately, you can have family members that gaslight you. You can have bosses that gaslight you. I know a lot of my bosses gaslit me a lot. It was so sad. Family members did the same thing. It's horrible that they would do that. And you can also have strangers that try to gaslight you, or maybe they might try to mistreat you and stuff like that. So again, educating yourself, spending time alone, building your relationship with God, and just experimenting, just testing things out when it comes to decision making. You sometimes you have to make bad decisions in order to learn to next time to make the right decision. You know what I'm saying? So, and remember, with the decision making, how does your body feel? How does your mind feel? How does your heart feel? What is it saying? The manipulation, does something feel off? you know um Sometimes also with the decision making, you can even look at someone and see if they're like maybe lying or gaslighting and stuff like that. You can look into their eyes, or sometimes if people don't want to look at you, maybe that could be a sign. Or if they're stuttering, like, or it's like if someone just keeps at it, maybe they're, if like for instance, like a narcissist, if let's say they want to force you to make a decision. Sometimes if they try to manipulate, maybe they might try to get other people involved, or they keep putting pressure on you, or maybe they're forcing you and stuff like that. That can be something to look out for when it comes to making a decision, because when you're making a decision, you don't want to feel forced, right? You don't want to feel like you're obligated. A lot of narcissists will make you feel like you're obligated to do things for them, or they feel entitled to you, and the things that you're doing in your life. Um, so you want to look out for stuff like that, right? But yeah, I hope that that was helpful, you guys. I really like this topic a lot, because this is definitely something that I had to do, because, again, me being around narcissists, I did not trust myself, right? And it was also to a point where, because if you've been a victim of abuse, it's at a point where you don't feel comfortable making a decision unless a narcissist is saying yes to you, or you might go to them for advice. Now, it's nothing wrong with getting advice from people when it comes to making decisions, but again, you have to be careful of the people that are around you, because you don't know their intentions. You don't know if they have your best interest at heart. And so that's something that that's the self-trusting. You have to trust yourself, because remember, educating yourself on people, being patient, and taking your time and getting to know people, and finding out who they really are. And remember, you have to do that for yourself. You have to look inside of yourself and find out, who am I? What do I like? What do I don't like? What are the kind of friends that I want around me? What kind of life do I want to live? And stuff. Y'all, these bugs are just, they're bugging. And excuse the noise. There's like this little air conditioner thingy is doing something weird. But but yeah, I just, hopefully that was helpful, you guys. And also, I'm gonna post this on the Instagram as well. So I want to do a meet and greet, you guys. I don't know who is all in the room, but I want to do a meet and greet. And I would like this meet and greet to be for, former victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse. So people that have, been a victim of, dealing with a narcissist. This could also be, anyone that's dealt with mental health, everyday challenges, mental health, whether it's obstacles or, just everyday living. I want to do this, the meet and greet, because I think it's really important to help individuals that's still dealing with, everyday life, and whether it's trauma, if it's abuse, if it's, decision making, self trust, stuff like that. Rebuilding that back up is not easy, And I think with the meet and greet, it's like, we can all meet each other, greet each other, talk about our struggles, talk about, the things that, we deal with, that we want to improve, the things that we want to progress with, and, the aspirations, and the goals and the things that we have for ourselves. So if any of you guys are interested, hold on, y'all, I need a drink. Hold on, I feel like I've been talking forever. Yeah. I've been talking a lot. But so yeah, with the meet and greet, it's definitely going to be great. I do have a few folks that I've been reaching out to, connecting with, so I'm super excited. Um, sorry about that, you guys. So I have a few folks that have taken interest. So I want to actually see where specifically we can do the meet and greet, because it is going to be in person, and we can all get together. Well, it's going to be kind of like a workshop kind of thing, and we'll have refreshments and things like that, and we'll just talk about our journeys, right? We'll talk about our mental health journeys, we'll talk about our self-love journeys, the different traumas we've gone through. If any of you guys are interested, we'll talk about, like I said, the things that we aspire to do and to improve. um, and I think it's going to be really great, because I feel like it's not really talked about as much, or it's not big, or people don't come together and really try to make a difference. I feel like there's enough, maybe there is enough talk, but now I feel like there's a need to do more. You know what I'm saying? To do more, to take action, and really be productive and progressive. We need more of that in this year. You know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be really important. Hold on, y'all. My throat. This AC generator is like going cray cray right now. Yeah, so but yeah, if any of you guys have interest in that, please let me know. So as of now, I know there's gonna be a meet and greet in New York. There's gonna be a meet and greet in Florida. I would definitely want to see about doing one in North Carolina. Um, Also, I was thinking of Georgia. Georgia. So, like I said, and I did have another individual that did reach out to me. We're going to be collaborating. So, you guys are welcome to not only, reach out to me if you're looking for like support sessions, but also if you want to like collaborate with me in any way. I did have someone that reached out to me for that particular inquiry. So, I'm super excited about that. But yes, we want to go ahead and do the meet and greet this year. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be helpful to a lot of folks. A lot of folks really need the inner work, and I think a lot of people are kind of normalizing getting support, because again, before, I feel like it was kind of like the elephant in the room. It's like, shh, be quiet, like don't say anything, just take it with grace, and it's just like, no, like that's not okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely things are changing. So but anyway, if you guys have any interest in doing a meet and greet, please send me an email. Sorry about that, you guys. I feel like whenever I talk a lot, my throat gets like itchy. So yeah, if you guys have interest in doing the meet and greet, please be sure to send me an email, and we'll go ahead and arrange that. And how we want to see about doing it is probably renting out a space, and kind of doing it like that, and you guys can come through depending on where you're at, and we'll probably do it for like 1 to 2 hours. I think that'd be good timing, like 2 hours. And then yeah, we'll just try to talk things out. Everybody will get their share to speak out and speak up, what they're particularly dealing with, and we'll come up with different solutions, different things that can help everyone on their particular journey, different techniques and tips and strategies on how they can improve that particular challenge, or that area that they have going on. So anyway, I'm gonna go because this AC is going cray cray. But hold on, y'all, give me a moment. Okay, give the video a like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. And don't forget, if there's any other topics that you guys want to do, make sure that you do leave them in the video below. and we'll go ahead and do another video like this. All right, and until the next time. Bye, guys.